Anthony works at the grocery store, saving his pennies for someday. Sing it if you know it. Mama Leone left a note on the door. She said, Sonny, move out to the country. Why? Hey, 'cause working too hard can give you a heart attack. You ought to know by now. Who needs a house out in Hackensack? What is that all you get for your money? And it seems such a waste of time. If that's what it's all about, mama, that's moving up, then I'm doing what y'all moving out. I'm moving out. Shout out to the God MC, Billy Joe. Billy Joe, the piano man. Billy Joe was giving y'all a working class anthem right there, even though the second verse features Sergeant O'Leary. Sergeant O'Leary got a union and a pension. We don't give a fuck about Sergeant O'Leary. But Anthony working at the grocery store. I know a lot of people can relate to that hourly wage blues song lining up with a lot of our people's struggle. Black and non-black alike, by the way. So anyway, for the folks that might think that they might be moving out to Canada after the re-election of Donald Trump here in Les États-Unis, you might have to think twice because Canada's about to shut its borders. That's a story I got coming up tonight. It's right here. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Tuesday edition, because y'all know Brother Will has a jobby job. So we do start a little after 7 on Tuesdays. We appreciate the folks who show up here prompt, thumb thugging, ready to do war with any of the variety of trolls that somehow this platform seems to bring out. Guys, that's how you know we talking the correct shit. We get the Trump trolls, we get the Kamala trolls, we get them all, baby. Why? Because it's fuck them all. and they know this. So they got to show up, talk their little shit, and then they be on their merry way. We'll send them on back to Fox News and MSNBC. But in the interim, they can get this double middle finger salute. But regardless, we got an interesting show for y'all today. Like I said, in North America, it's not just the US that's talking some border shit. Canada's talking its border shit. I want to get into that because it's interesting. And the timing, I don't think, is coincidental. I also want to talk about the story that has continued to percolate and reverberate throughout the interwebs, but it has taken some twists and turns. It's taken on different forms and shapes. It's a shapeshifter, if you will. The story pertaining to the hooliganism in Amsterdam, instigated by fans of an Israeli football team that came, these niggas went to a whole nother fucking country. It started shit. Shit is crazy. Niggas could never. I mean, maybe on the continent. I don't know how it gets down. In Latin America, you know, it's very nationalized, right? Niggas show up to other countries. Sometimes they come to rumble, but god damn. Anyway, I want us to get into that. Not even so much the particulars of the story, just the way the story has been reframed and reshaped to somehow make the people that threw the first punch, the Israeli football fans, now these motherfuckers is the victims. How does that work? But it's a tried and true rollout, I suppose, or feature of white supremacy, right? Like somehow the settlers, even here through the United States history context, somehow the settlers were the victims, the poor victims of those native savages who had the audacity to try to fight for their land. How dare they? how dare they resist? Anywho, so we're going to get into that here in just a couple of seconds. I did want to say what's up and thank you to all the folks that continue to show up and show out for the platform. Big up to all our dedicated and motivated moderators. I appreciate you guys to pieces. What's going on, Abby? What's up, Courtney? What's up, Anna? What is up, my son Tyler? What's up, Dawnbird? What's up, Latif? Chuck Diesel, if he's around. What's up, Chuck Diesel? Salute. We appreciate you guys coming through. Shout out to Ebony W. Ebony, I got your very generous Venmo support. Thank you so much. Ebony said she missed me on the morning show when I took a little hiatus, and I appreciate that. I love so much that there is overlap, but amongst the platforms. You know what I'm saying? Much respect going out to Black Liberation Media. Much respect. Shout out to Diallo Kenyatta. Big up to the rational radicals out there. You know what I mean? We appreciate the support. Big up Status Quo. Who else we big up? Round the way, you know, we appreciate the folks who come through and do this work on YouTube and other places. So thanks to all and all of our supporters here with us. So anyway, I want to get into the story. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. ish Eastern time. Shout out to everyone that's watching us on Twitch at BIDWKB. Thanks so much. So last week, there was a soccer match. Now, I don't give a fuck about soccer. I don't give a fuck about soccer. But what I found interesting is that the American media, mainstream media, I'm talking about basically like network news, even I suppose even cable news to a certain extent, but they never cover international stories. I mean, like never, not never. Americans are uniquely siloed via our mainstream media outlets about what is actually happening in the rest of the world. So when a kerfuffle in the streets of Amsterdam actually made mainstream American news, I said, let us see. Let us see what is happening. So basically, the long and the short of it is, I'm sure you guys have seen the footage, but the Israeli football team, I can't remember their fucking name. They're going to say it in the package. These people actually have a reputation of showing up in different countries and being racist and violent, right? And clearly, when they were walking through the streets of Amsterdam chanting death to Arabs and even some worse incendiary shit, terrible things about the children of Palestine and ripping down Palestinian flags, and then allegedly attacking a brown taxi driver who, in response, called the homies. he got on the horn. He said, "My guys, these motherfuckers is out here. Meet me at Rue da 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 wherever." I ain't never been answered it, but anyway. So it has turned into a bit of a confrontation, if we will. But let's not be mistaken about who was the instigator here. It was the Israeli soccer fans who came to Amsterdam, chanted racist shit, got their ass whipped, by the way. The soccer team did 5-0. That's a thrashing. Okay. So y'all should have went the fuck home. Quiet. That's not what happened. Per white supremacy. So I want us to look at a couple of different packages here because I thought it was interesting how differently via network that this story was covered. And the first one, let's go with NBC News, Will. Let's go with that NBC News one. I think that's one I have up there first because there has actually been an update on this story because allegedly unrest has continued in the streets of Amsterdam with a tram for people like me who ain't never been to Europe. I guess the tram is a train car, the subway car, the metro car. What I think that's what the fuck the tram is. I don't know what the goddamn tram is, but anyway, public transport, an apparatus of it was set alight. It was burned. And the people that are accused of doing the lighting, I suppose are supposed to be the so-called pro-Palestinian folks, which I'm not 100% certain of. This part here about the story kind of, I don't even like to say FALSEFLAG. I don't even know if YouTube is flagging that kind of shit. And I don't even like to delve into conspiracies, but I said this don't look right. I said this don't look right. So here's the latest because this story is still ongoing in some ways from Amsterdam with the racist football fans coming to a whole ass another country, demonstrating that they have absolutely zero home training. And the way that it's being framed now as anti-Semitic attacks against these football players. Not football players, football fans who came and started the shit. You start shit, you're going to get shit. Anyway, let's go ahead and run that NBC package. Well, thank you.
Well, we're going to turn now to breaking news out of Europe, where violence erupted again in Amsterdam last night. A tram in the Dutch capital city was set on fire by rioters who shouted anti-Semitic slurs. Rioters clashed with protesters earlier in the day, leading to several arrests. This marks the second wave of what authorities have condemned as anti-Semitic attacks in the city in just the past week. Several people were injured in violent clashes after a soccer match last Thursday. Pro-Palestinian
and keep me in the corner. Do me a favor. Yeah, pause it real quick and keep me in the corner. I think I do want to have some live commentary, because these questions have been raised. Because I don't believe that the reports are going to be specific here, but we'll see. But when they say these protesters are alleged to have been chanting anti-Semitic chants, like what? I looked at some of the videos, not featured here on NBC News, but it was F Izzy, right? F Izzy, F Izzy, F Izzy, you know? I don't know, is that anti-Semitic? Because if somebody says F America, who is that anti? I don't know. But Israel is a state. I just wanted to put that out. Go ahead, Will. Let's run that. Thank you.
Demonstrators defied a ban on protests near the stadium, which resulted in those clashes with supporters of an Israeli team playing in the city. Now, police say some Israeli fans previously attacked a taxi driver and burned a Palestinian flag. Some also chanted death to Arabs. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us from Tel Aviv with the latest on this. Raf, good morning. So what can you tell us about what happened overnight?
Raf is in Tel Aviv. He ain't even fucking
Savannah,
in
good
Amsterdam.
morning. Police in Amsterdam say they were called out last night when a masked mob attacked a tram line. They say that this crowd was armed with sticks, with fireworks. You can see footage on social media shows people throwing bricks through the window of that tram. And you can hear people shouting anti-Semitic slogans. Now, police say they made a number of arrests. They were able to restore order. But of course, the Dutch capital shaken by that violence late last week. And all eyes now on Paris, where Israel's national soccer team is due to play on Thursday. Israeli fans have been told to stay away from that game for their own safety. And French police say they will be deploying some 5,000 officers to maintain order. Savannah.
Raf, I mentioned this is the second.
So I have some theories here. So this football match was days ago. Okay. The team been done left town. Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to send IDF airplanes. Did he vow to send the Air Force to go get the Israelis from out of Amsterdam? That didn't happen. In fact, they left out the way that they came on commercial airlines. It was a big brouhaha with Netanyahu really clutching pearls and claiming that all of these poor Zionists came under anti-Semitic attack in the city of Amsterdam, but without first mentioning the initial provocation of what was said and done. And I'm not quite certain about all of the ethnic demography of Amsterdam. I imagine it to be quite a diverse place, you know, since the Dutch were global colonizing assholes, right? I'm sure their formerly colonized folks have come back to the motherland, you know, the fatherland, whatever the fuck, to come collect their things. I'm sure it's a melting pot, a deep melange of cultures. And I'm certain there's a native Jewish population there whom I would imagine lives quite peacefully with their Muslim neighbors, with their Buddhist neighbors, with their Christian neighbors, with their Catholic neighbors, with their Protestants. I'm sure all these people have been living perfectly fine after, you know, the SS folks got their ass kicked low some, 70 some years ago. Regardless, I find it hard to believe, just out of the blue, the people of Amsterdam, the brown folks, the people who follow Islam in Amsterdam, all of a sudden just started whooping up on the Jewish folks. Nope. Don't buy that at all. These Israelis came to town rowdy. They came to town with the intention of being hooligans, because this is not the first time nor the first country the fans of this particular football club has done Very similar things. This is what they do. What I marvel at, though it shouldn't shock me, is the amount of cover that this thuggery is blatantly being given. And this latest incident with the tram car being lit up, that sounds like Mossad. that sounds like whatever that sounds like a COINTELPRO operation. Oh, all these masked people just out of the blue decided to light this public transport thing on fire. Really? Today? This is what they felt like? Oh, I see. I think that was done as a disruption, as something that was meant to paint the brown and Muslim people of Amsterdam in a negative light. When again, had the initial thuggery, the initial aggression done by the Israeli football fans, had they come to town and been good guests and obeyed laws and respected the citizens of the country of which they were visiting, of which they were guests, I imagine none of this shit would have happened. Interesting, but I find it fascinating that the United States mainstream media, Western media, wants to tell me all about this. Meanwhile, when the racist rowdy whites was tearing shit up in the UK, bitch, when I tell you they did not mention it, that when I tell you that shit did not get a fucking 30-second package in America. Interesting what they want to tell when they want to tell us about the world. This is the narrative that they are spinning, the pro-Zionist narrative, the narrative that the aggressor is the victim. I don't buy it. Continue, Brother Will. Thank you.
An attack of this nature in less than a week. How are authorities in Amsterdam handling this? Are more arrests being made?
Yeah, more arrests being made. Dutch police said last night that they had arrested another 5 people for that violence Thursday into Friday. That's on top of 4 who they have in custody from last week. There's a larger group of people who were arrested for various other kind of public disorder offenses. They were released with fines. The Israeli government is actually complaining, Savannah, that they feel that the Dutch are not moving fast enough to round up people who were involved in that violence on Thursday. Dutch authorities are saying that this was a truly chaotic night in the capital of the Netherlands, that earlier in the evening, large crowds of Israeli fans, some of them armed with sticks, had been going around causing acts of vandalism, ripping down Palestinian flags, attacking people, in some cases chanting anti-Arab slurs, but that later on, groups of these assailants began targeting Israelis in what they are calling hit-and-run attacks. Savannah.
All right, we'll
President
pause
Biden
it there.
is set to meet with Israeli President Isaac Herzog. That's later.
So actually, we can dead that. The rest of that's boring. She's going to talk about the Israeli President Herzog coming to visit Biden, and it's like two lames, two lame duck ass motherfuckers going to hang out. Wonderful. So the piece there about Netanyahu in particular in Israel as a state being upset that the Dutch officials aren't moving fast enough to do arrests on these, and the way that what's this Raf Sanchez, where the fuck Raf, how the fuck Raf in Tel Aviv reporting on what the fuck's going on in Amsterdam? Make it make sense. Just any nigga abroad will do. Raf, you in Tel Aviv, tell us what's happening in Cairo. Well, anyway, I'm sorry, the ridiculousness of our media machine. It I have to laugh to stop from crying and to curse it constantly. So indulge my giggles here if you don't mind. But the way Raf Sanchez framed that, right? The Israeli football fans were alleged to have caused acts of vandalism, burning, tearing stuff down, etc. But the assailants who are accused of these so-called hit and run attacks, I think they was just walking up and stealing Bamas and running away. I don't know what happened, but I don't support random acts of violence, period. But I am in full support of people who defend themselves and defend their communities. And if there are roving gangs of white supremacists who are chanting racist things, who are committing acts of vandalism, by the way, I don't know what kind of diplomatic relationship exists between the Netherlands and Israel, but it's amazing that Israeli citizens can go to the Netherlands and literally commit crimes and nobody's visa got revoked. No immigration wasn't wasn't notified, or was it just the Israeli football fans were given carte blanche to come to town and tear shit up without fear of any legal reprisals? In fact, I'm not sure if any of the arrests comprised of the Israeli football fans at all. And Netanyahu himself, again, the Israeli media lobby that shit is thorough, dog. Like, there's no doubt about how all of this fracas began, right? But the way it's now centered around anti-Semitism and what constitutes as anti-Semitism. If somebody's saying F Izzy is I don't see that. F America. Fuck Canada. Like, I mean, be serious. Talk about a state here, an entity. Okay. That is not applicable to an entire swath of people's ethnicity. That is fuck that state and people that uphold that pro-Zionist, white supremacist, colonialist, all that shit. Yeah, F them all day. I don't see how that can be perceived as anti-Semitic. And quite frankly, it isn't. But any sort of criticism about the state of Israel, about the way that the Zionists behave, either at home or even apparently abroad, these behaviors are seemingly beyond reproach. They are always justifiable. They are something that the targets of this violence, these folks, the victims of this violence, should never resist or respond to it with reciprocal violence. I don't understand how people can walk around through life constantly throwing haymakers at their enemies and somehow expecting not to get punched. That's why these so many of the people that are pro-Zionist, their start date for the whole conflict in Gaza is October 7th. That's your start date? well, if on October 7th, if Hamas, wait a second, where were you the previous 70 some years? Where were you the previous 5 generations of folks? All of this started for you on October 7th. Shame on you. Will, let's go to the Al Jazeera package because I wasn't sure where Al Jazz was going with this. And this is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This package, I believe, is from Monday on the 11th. However, I wasn't sure where Al Jazeera was going off, was starting off with this, because they also started with the anti-Semitic framing. I'd say, well, wait a second. But I feel as though it's a much more honest retelling of exactly what was said and done. And again, in American mainstream media outlets, the perspectives of the brown folks, the non-Christian folks, is seldom given any airtime. And if it does, it's in a short, maybe contextual or taken out of context clip. It doesn't really encompass sentiments. Again, that's sort of how the West's, well, let me say America's media is. It used to be, they used to give you 30-second sound bites of people speaking their mind. That has been cut drastically. So whatever limited perspective we have always gotten here from American media, that perspective is limited even further. But Al Jazeera came through with the better perspective. So let's go ahead and check out how they covered this.
After a violent night in Amsterdam, Israeli football fans are taken to the airport by Jewish volunteers.
We don't trust on the Dutch people.
Why don't you trust them?
Because what we have been to yesterday, it's not something that we have in Israel. With the Palestinians in Israel, we don't have what we have to do.
They were some of the thousands of supporters of Maccabi Tel Aviv who had gathered in the Dutch capital for the match against Ajax. Many were seen ripping down Palestinian flags and chanting racist slogans. Outraged by the racist incitement, dozens turned out on the streets and battled with Israeli football fans and police following the match. Dozens were injured. The Amsterdam mayor strongly condemned what she described as anti-Semitic riots. She didn't condemn the actions of the Israeli fans.
And of course, they are related to the situation in the Middle East and the ongoing war in Israel and Palestine. But what happened last night is not a protest. It has nothing to do with protest or
Self-defense.
demonstration. It was crime.
Self-defense.
Israeli leaders were quick to compare the violence with the Holocaust and October 7. The Israeli foreign minister even traveled to the Netherlands, saying upon arrival that Amsterdam is not safe for Jews.
Authorities in both the Netherlands and Israel have been quick to describe last night's riots as anti-Semitic without giving much context to what happened leading up to Israeli football supporters being attacked. Some say it's created a dangerous narrative and fear more anti-Muslim and anti-immigration rhetoric.
Principal emotions is ignited by the genocide that Israel is committing. So it's an opposition to that. And sorry to say, but the Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters put themselves in that context by attacking Palestinian symbols and saying racist slurs about Palestinians.
While most Israeli football fans have left the Netherlands, the Dutch government says it will do all it can to welcome them back safely. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, Amsterdam.
Okay, I'm not upset. I think I misremembered when I first watched this package earlier. But no, I think that was very fair and representative. And interesting that the hyperbole coming from the Zionist state saying, what happened to their football fans again who instigated violence, who themselves committed criminal acts, who themselves intimidated residents living in Amsterdam, inciting terror, I would say. For who was it? The ambassador or foreign minister, Israeli foreign minister, to give the comment, even though they didn't play the comment, the reporter read it, comparing what happened in Amsterdam to October 7th and the Holocaust. Is that how the Holocaust started? Did Jewish football fans leave the ghettos and went into the streets of Prague and confronted the SS football like, what the fuck are we even talking about? Like, the distortion, the amazing narrative spin that the Zionists and the media complicity are willing to go along with, it is incredible. And it's very dangerous, because in the same way that the residents of Amsterdam, the people who are Muslim, the people who either are Palestinians or support the Palestinian cause, who are against genocide and humanitarian crimes happening to the Palestinian people, like somehow they're the enemy, somehow they are the ones in the wrong for meeting violence with violence. What was the amazing quote from that Yahya Sinwar interview? Like, what was it? We will not be complicit victims, or we will not endure our erasure and silence. I'm fucking it all up. You guys, chat, help me out, because my bruv said a word in just a few words. That's it. People are allowed to resist. People are allowed to throw fists in return. Okay. And for Google and YouTube, no, I'm not inciting violence, but what I am advocating for is self-defense at all costs. And just because the people who are resisting don't have as strong or as an effective as a public relations machine as the state of Israel does, again, I'm trying to put this in the context too. I can only imagine the kind of trolls we have in here now. But if we have some crackers, let me put this in a way that y'all understand. Okay. I want you to imagine when the World Cup, oh shit, you want to talk about mass deportations, the racist whites are going to be disturbed that when the World Cup comes to the US. So I want you to imagine who's give me a country that America would be horribly racist to. I know anywhere black and brown. I understand. Fuck it. Let's say China. Let's go hard. Let's say the Chinese national football team comes to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to play a football match. And here come all these Chinese visitors. And they come tearing down all the Confederate flags. And they start kicking over, memorials and markers dedicated to the Confederacy. I'm sorry. Do you think the Southern whites, the racist whites, I'm proud, I'm a rebel whites, you think them whites you think they're going for that? Should they go for that? Of course they wouldn't go for that. They're coming out with the rifles, okay? They're coming out rowdy. So in what way do visitors from another country have the right to come and terrorize residents of another actual country? They don't. And if they get punched and stomped out, make better decisions. If you scared to move around, then stop being a dickhead. I'm very certain that the Jewish residents of Amsterdam, prior to this soccer match, were living just fine, just peacefully and regular and normal, I guess, with the rest of their neighbors. But this particular soccer club, this is what the fuck they do. Thuggery, hooliganism, racist attacks upon people living in other countries. Will, I want you to cue up that next video for me. Because again, I don't follow soccer, football. I don't follow it. I don't know. I don't care how it works, but regardless. So the Israeli team goes everywhere. and they I guess they get their ass whipped in different countries. And earlier this year there was a match held in Athens, Greece. And the fans of this football club, again, guests in another country, were marauding the streets and happened to catch a brown man with a Palestinian marker, with a Palestinian flag. And I want y'all to see how these people behaved. These guests who traveled on tourist visas to another country. And this is how they behaved from outside of the soccer match in Athens, Greece. This was from earlier this summer, 2024. Let's take a look. So keep in mind that as soon as the powers that be, and hey guys, let me say this, I'm not one of those, there's a global cabal of this type of people that control the narrative. I won't say, no, I don't subscribe to that. I mean, it could be possible. There's lots of things that happen in the world. I just assume I will actually never know how they work and who really controls them. But I found it just fascinating that let that have been Black Americans, let that have been Africans, let that have been Haitians, let that have been Jamaicans, let that have been anybody from the African diaspora going to Europe of all places and tearing shit up and fighting people and setting shit on fire. Like, let that have been us. Okay. There would have been a ban on Negroes everywhere. The Amsterdam would have been instituted a work permit only immigration policy. No visitor visas. No tourist visas will be issued to any Africans or members of the African diaspora unless you darkies are coming here to do service work. Nope, no more darkies. Amsterdam would have closed its borders immediately. It would have closed its borders immediately. But I just I marvel at the fact that these Israelis went back to their continental homeland and showed their whole fucking ass and got protected in doing so. And will likely do it again. And what will be the consequence? The people whom are the victims of this rogue mob of particular soccer fans, the people who will continue to be their victims themselves will be painted as the enemy, as the aggressor, as the provocateurs. For what? Existing? for simply existing. So just be mindful. I know we have a lot of media literate, media savvy folks that not only watch this platform, but watch our related platforms. And you guys know what time it is. I don't have to tell y'all this, but as you see, a lot of folks in this country are very easily misled. Okay. The level of disinformation I have to find hilarious when American media laments about disinformation coming from Russia, disinformation campaigns coming from Iran. This was a blatant disinformation campaign coming straight out of Israel, being dictated directly by Benjamin Netanyahu. And these American media outlets repeated that shit, reported it straight up, very little variations, and buried the lead that the Israeli football fans themselves were the instigators. But that doesn't get mentioned until after you hear about the so-called anti-Semitic attacks and chants of anti-Semitism. It's a joke, everybody. It's a joke, and it's no joke at the same time. So head on a swivel, even in these internet streets. And be aware of what is the game and what is the game being ran. Okay. And you don't go for it. And you be sure to tell your people, don't go for this shit. So let me take a little break, a little pause for the cause. Can we shout out to the UK contingent? Can I shout out to Damien? Can I shout out to Lady Heloise? Can I shout out to my lovely Ursula, to V, to our folks holding us down in the UK, the belly of the other beast. Or maybe the beast is a cow and there's many stomachs, and the UK brethren are in one quadrant of the stomach, and here in the US we are in another quadrant of the stomach of the belly of the beast. So anyway, I just feel appreciation for our people that check in with us from around the world. And if you are a viewer of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, and you lucky bastard, you don't live in the United States, announce yourself, say what's up, let us know where you are checking in from. Brother Will, have we any acknowledgments to make to our wonderful esteemed guests who are joining us this evening?
Excuse me. Yes. Hello, everyone.
Nigga Will, why you always come? You always come on.
You gonna let me do my job, bro?
Nah, I gotta critique real quick. You always come on clearing throats, grabbing mics. Like I never toss it to you. You always come on surprised, as though. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Teresa, for gifting 5 memberships. We appreciate and love you.
Thank you.
And y'all have a good night.
What's up, Shimon from Scotland? We have some Yo, I just seen a little documentary on TikTok about the Black Scots, about the Black Scottish. And that's a real thing, apparently. Yes. Did you know niggas ran Scotland? Ooh. Don't take us nowhere, because we're going to take over. Sorry. Shout out to Jamal from Scotland. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for our international crew. Check it in. And Teresa, thank you so much for the gifting of the 5 channel memberships. I keep forgetting to push these goddamn memberships. We got memberships, y'all. There is some member only content on this platform. It starts at the low for $2 a month. And it just helps to support us over here, because, this is Black woman independent ran media. We got Will, we got Molly holding us down. for the support and making sure that we are able to bring the shows that we do to you each and every single week. Well, we certainly do appreciate your support. So we accept super chats, we accept channel memberships. If you want to run us cash directly via the platforms, Cash App, $BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB. And of course, shout out to the patrons, patreon.com/BIDWKB. Any and all support is certainly appreciated, welcomed, and received with love. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to Fran French. I'm sure Franny French is in this biatch. If she ain't, she be along soon. She be along later. What's up to the bruvs? What's up to the good bruv Latif? What's going on, KJ Sakuma? I'm guessing over here. I don't know who will be over here. What's up? I'm Manifesto. Who else be coming through? I see Holly Horn in the building. What's up to the people checking us out on Twitch? Thank you to Rosalba. Thank you to Northern Witch for holding us down. We appreciate you guys so much. James, what's up, James? James, what is that nigga in Chicago doing? What is Brandon Johnson doing? I want to have a conversation with a Chicagoan to like, please put all this craziness into context. I don't even know if it's craziness, but he going through it with the school board, with the school system. I don't fucking know, but I had a feeling. all these shiny young progressive black mayors, as soon as they get sworn in, oh, these niggas is the mayor. Okay. And guess what? The mayor usually be on what? That bullshit 100%. So yeah, James, maybe we have to wrap. You gotta tell me what this young man is up to, because he up there angering people. I don't know what's going on. But anywho, so let me go ahead and get into my next story, because with the re-election of Donald J. Trump, which I still need a couple more days for it to sink in, not because I had any particular allegiance to Kamala, and you all should know this. My people know we was not rooting for Kamala over here, but I just find Trump like, god damn, this nigga is roaches. You cannot kill him. Good luck. Get rid of Trump without a deep fumigation of the whole shit. But somehow he back, and he will be back as president. And so many disgusted and disgruntled liberals, threw down their Kamala yard signs and said, God damn it, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Where can I flee to? Where can I run to? You know what? I'm going to Canada. Canada said, the fuck you are. Oh, you think the U.S.-Mexico border is about to get shut down? Bitches, you niggas cannot step foot in fucking Ontario, Manitoba, British Columbia. Don't even think about it. It's Bernadette with Kim Brown. Check us out Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Like the video, subscribe, and share, comment, and chat. Thank you all so much. So I saw a story. So this is actually a tale of two stories. The first story started a couple of months ago as it pertains to Canada and migrant workers. Okay. For everyone who thinks that Canada is this like, they're so friendly. Yeah, they are kind of friendly. They're nicer clans people. No disrespect to the Canadians we have present. I'm talking about the Canadian crackers, not our Canadian homeboys and homegirls and home non-binary folks. I'm talking about them crackers. Okay. If you think Canada ain't got crackers, they do. And the crackerism runs very deep. It runs very deep. But per the United States, Canada's a colony. How did Canada also help to get itself off the ground, in addition to it being a commonwealth of the British Empire, etc.? It also exploited and continues to exploit the work and the labor of people that immigrate from Canada. And Canada receives a lot of migrants coming from South Asia, coming from the Caribbean, coming from I don't know, is a lot of Africans immigrate to Canada? I think so. I know way more Asians and Caribbeans be headed to Canada. I guess the Africans go to Canada too. But regardless, the United Nations actually issued a bit of a scathing report on the way the Canadian migrant workers are being treated under this particular work program, work visa, work permit program, where migrants coming to the country could only work for one company. Do I have that right? And the United Nations says, yeah, that kind of sounds like slavery. And you can imagine the liberal Trudeau government says, us enslave us? Like Biden and Kamala. Us? What? No, that's not possible. It's us. It's Canada. We're the nice ones. No. So anyway, let's go back a couple of months. I want you guys to check out this package, giving some insight into the cruel ways that Canadian companies, and by extension, the Canadian government, allows the labor of migrants to be exploited, even to the extent that it has been compared to enslavement. So, a form of enslavement, I should say. So, Will, let's go ahead and check that package out.
It's a Canadian program that's run for nearly 60 years, but now the United Nations is calling it out. A recently released UN investigation says Canada's temporary foreign worker program serves as a breeding ground for contemporary forms of slavery.
The allegations that are made in the report would come as no surprise to any immigration lawyer in Canada.
The UN Special Rapporteur into contemporary forms of slavery points to how many temporary workers are tied to an employer through a closed work permit, meaning they're only allowed to work for the company that sponsored them to come to Canada, leading to examples of what he says is underpayment, wage theft, physical, emotional, and verbal abuse.
When a foreign worker is on a closed work permit, that employer holds the key to them being able to stay in Canada on a temporary basis, sometimes on a permanent basis.
The special rapporteur came to these conclusions in part during a 2-week trip to Canada last year and provided limited statistics to back up his claims, but he does point to the explosion of the temporary program in recent years. In 2018, there were 84,000 temporary foreign workers, while in 2022, it jumped to over 135,000, many of whom have come as low-wage workers.
We're making our businesses addicted to low-wage labor instead of them going and investing in innovation and investing in productivity.
That addiction is in a weakening labor market. Youth unemployment is at its highest level since 2014, and an analysis by Bloomberg estimates unemployment for temporary workers themselves has reached 11%, both nearly double the current general unemployment rate.
It's created increased competition for many of the jobs that non-permanent residents often work in. They're often in lower paying areas of the service sector.
One way the special rapporteur says the government could reduce abuse is to provide a pathway to permanent residency for temporary workers, Donna, something the Liberals promised in the last election, but have now backed away from.
Mackenzie, thanks.
Yeah, that package is courtesy, I believe, of Global News. You guys hear some overlapping themes there, especially towards the end. The Liberal government promised, or rather a solution that has been offered up to help ameliorate the situation for these migrants, is to help them get on a path to permanent residency. And Trudeau initially thought, hey, yeah, we can do that. Psych. Psych. No permanent residency for the 100,000 plus workers that are there on permit. Okay, that doesn't even include what I would imagine would be the undocumented workers. I'm sure there are a good number of those also in Canada. Canadians have, at least some of the conservative Canadians that I saw on social media, decry people that are undocumented in America now walking across the border to claim asylum in Canada now that Trump has been reelected, which I suppose could happen. And good for them folks. I hope they do walk to Canada and claim asylum and stay. and that's not because I don't want them here. I actually know Canada has a bit of a stronger social safety net that I hope people that are seeking refugee status and asylum or trying to claim asylum, I hope these people are entitled to those benefits. So that's why I hope when I say I hope they go over there and stay, because they will actually get a social safety net there that they will not have. And even a more perilous situation here in the US, forget the social safety net, just their livelihoods and way of life being in immediate danger on day one per Trump's rhetoric and his directives. But interesting also about the Canadian worker permit system, that the person being sponsored is basically beholden to the company for what? An indefinite amount of time? Like this is big indentured servitude energy. And the fact that the migrants, or rather the migrant workers, cannot come and go from the country, I suppose, without the express consent of the sponsoring company, that doesn't sound very free and fair. That doesn't sound like a free and fair exchange of labor for wages. And even talking about the wage aspect of it, you heard a couple people in the package talk about how Canadian companies are addicted to these low wage workers, right? And it's like, well, that's capitalism, baby. It's not that the Canadian companies or even American companies are addicted to low wage labor. It's that is the profit model. That's what it demands, right? How in the hell are owners and investors supposed to make money if you're paying workers a fair wage? That's not how this capitalist shit works at all. It's to try to extract the maximum amount of work, energy, labor output from the individual worker while compensating them with the least amount that the worker will accept. And if you are new to the country, new to the language, new to the customs, you might accept work that doesn't pay very well, or you might stay at a job that does little to protect you in order to have the opportunity for your loved ones, or for you to either bring your family with you, or for you to send remittances back home so that they can survive. But either way, it's an exploitative system, and it only took the UN Special Rapporteur 2 weeks on a visit to Canada to put that shit together. And I should have pulled the clip where Trudeau lost his shit. I should have found that, because it was giving so much liberal tears. Yeah, it was giving ginormous liberal tears. Like, he couldn't believe that someone would accuse Canada, Canada, not America, Canada, would accuse Canada of mistreatment of Black and brown folks. Baby, that's what Canada was founded on. Nobody knew that. Everybody knows that. Anyway, so an announcement this week, again, coming from the Trudeau government, about their new immigration and or border policies. And given the so-called mandate that Donald Trump has been resoundingly reelected on, the issue of border security, the issue of illegal immigration, quote, illegal immigration. These are goofy ass Americans. They don't even fucking know. Immigrants are not your problem, baby. The boss is your problem. The owner is your problem. Immigrants, not the problem. I digress. But you ship millions of them out of here, or you're gonna see some problems. But anyway, but for all the people who are disgruntled at Kamala's loss and at Trump's victory, who are wringing their hands and crying their own set of liberal tears about how they're gonna run and escape to Canada. Canada said, wait a second, buddy. Hold on. Will, go ahead and run that clip for me, please.
Reduce the number of immigrants we bring in over the next 3 years, which will result in a pause in the population growth over the next 2 years. This builds on our previously announced measures to cap international student permits and reform the temporary foreign worker program, all of which we are implementing with a single aim: stabilize our population growth to give all levels of government time to catch up, time to make the necessary investments in healthcare, in housing, in social services to accommodate more people in the future. Far too many corporations have chosen to abuse our temporary measures, exploiting foreign workers while refusing to hire Canadians for a fair wage. All while, under the watch of provinces, some colleges and universities are bringing in more international students than communities can accommodate, treating them as an expendable means to line their own pockets. That's unacceptable, and it needs to change.
The caps that we put in place are not measures that we took lightly, nor are the measures taken today ones that we're taking lightly without reflection. We are an open country, but not everyone can come to this country. Permanent residency is something that we hold dear. It has a value, as does Canadian citizenship.
We are an open country, but not everybody can come. Nigga, that's closed. we are open between the hours of 9 and 5. If you show up at 5:15, well, we gonna be closed. What the fuck do you mean we're an open country, but not everybody can come here? What? Listen, this worker permit program for foreign workers has been in place for 60 years. You best fucking believe that it has been a mutually beneficial relationship for the government and for the businesses, not for the workers, not for the people coming to the country, but for the well, maybe if they got some of that Health Canada, if they could access to Health Canada, maybe it was worth it. But I don't know. I let the folks who've been in that situation, let them tell you what their experience has been. But you heard from the Canadian government there. They intend to basically close the border. They're not now they may not say explicitly that this policy is for Americans, right? It's definitely for, as they said, the international students, which is weird. Again, weird energy. I'm sorry, there's too many people coming here to get their education. Surely that is a drain on our society. How? like make it even make sense. Or what was also said about the corporations there exploiting the foreign worker system and refusing to pay Canadians a fair wage. That's exactly what you wanted, though, right? That is how capitalism becomes profitable, right? You pay the lowest amount for labor. If these businesses were to pay Canadians to do the work in the very parallel situation that many American industries are about to find themselves in, if you want to pay Americans to do the work or Canadians to do the work, those people demand higher wages, which is going to cut into profits, cut into earnings. That's not how capitalism works, okay? Addicted to the low wage workers, yes, that is accurate. And that's not going to improve if you refuse to let in any additional workers, right? Those jobs are going to go unfilled by and large, or they're going to continue to be filled by people who still have the least amount of opportunity within the society, right? And those same sort of racial and ethnic and socioeconomic strata, all of that exists in Canada as well. Again, their social safety net is better than ours. Ours is non-existent, but they kind of have one. So for those that think they're going to Canada, you're not. Canada said no foreigners, even from the American fronts. There's an estimated, I think I saw the number was somewhere between 22 and 44,000. I know that's somewhat of a range, but it's not a whole lot of people. Under 50,000 people annually walk from the United States into Canada to claim asylum. Some of these folks come from Central and South America. Likely, I guess, that they had been bussed northward from the Texas-Arizona border by the governors there, DeSantis. Might as well be Jeb. DeSantis, a cracker like Jeb Bush. But anyway, from DeSantis, Abbott, all them fuckers sent those buses northward to Chicago, to New York City. And them folks said, well, fuck it, we'll just keep going north. And did you know you could walk to Canada? Yep, sure can. Well, let's do that. Let's take the family and walk our ass right over there. And of course, some conservative Canadians are decrying that. And again, this spiel coming from Trudeau about we need to put a pause on immigrants coming to the country because we need to build up the infrastructure. Baby, how many people are in Canada, guys? If America is, it's like what, 35 million, 40 million people. It's about a tenth of the American population, about 10% of the American population. It's not super big. I mean, well, my point is that it's not super crowded is my point. There's lots of space in Canada. Canada can accommodate in the same way that they have not, I guess, made some of the same or better infrastructure improvements into their healthcare system, et cetera, into their public education system. But see, again, I know that Canada is at least a couple of notches above the U.S. So when they say that they don't have it, I don't believe them. It's the same way in the U.S. when they tell us that we cannot have a universal healthcare system or we can't have universal childcare being subsidized by the government. Well, that's a lie. That's a farce. Of course you can. All you have to do is reroute or defund the Pentagon and the Department of Defense and fund it into healthcare and into childcare. And we do have the money. Canada also has the money. But they are also experiencing the xenophobia that has gripped much of America. And I hope that they do a good job of keeping Americans out. Keep them out. Keep them whiny liberals out of your country. I support that. For all the ones, for all the Kamala supporters, for all the Kamala whiners, for all the people that are angry at non-whites who cast a vote for Donald Trump and want to, and especially the migrants who cast votes, or rather immigrants who may be naturalized and cast votes for Trump, the way that liberals want to call immigration on these people and get them deported is gross and disgusting. I'm telling you, that is not an appropriate response. It's not even a reciprocal response for someone going to the ballot box to cast a vote. You don't upset everybody else. And I know the argument is, well, these people voted for Trump to do exactly that to others. I get that. You got to let karma and God do what karma and God are gonna do. You don't call ICE on any fucking body, okay? Unless it's Elon Musk. Okay, like, why immigration has not been called on this nigga, I don't understand. Some of y'all is slacking. I thought people was snitching out here. I guess not. Y'all just letting immigrants do any fucking thing. Here come Elon, about to be all in the government. Why? Because we don't have the immigration in check. You're just letting these fucking wayward ass billionaires come to America and run our governmental system. Why? Because immigration's out of control. That's it. Let's get a hold of the immigrants that are actually doing the damage, like Elon Musk, please and thank you. Canada, shame on you, per usual. Accept the same shame that belongs to America as well, with your colonial, racist, settler history, the way that the First Nations people continue to be treated in Canada, the way that foreign workers are exploited to the point that it is being compared to modern day enslavement. Shame on you. Shame on you. But thank you so much for remaining on brand. Make Canada great again. So let me wrap this up. That's it, guys. That's the show. I don't even have a palate cleanser. The palate cleanser I contemplated was the clip that I saw going around today of some social climbing Negro on one of the political talk shows making the case for Joe Biden in his final month of being president, for him to step aside from the presidency and allow Kamala, his vice president, to ascend to the office, if only for 1 month, if only for that historic moment. I said, these niggas have lost their fucking mind. I said, these niggas have gone completely crazy. Anytime that you are so thirsty just to say, we had a black woman president for 30 days until the dictator, other fascists, the different variants of fascist leadership come into power. And I thought, maybe I should pull that clip so we can laugh. But I don't even think I'm capable of laughter. I think I'm just capable of curses and profanity at the ludicrousness, at the audacity, at the thirst and the desperation to have Kamala be a winner somehow. When America keeps telling you they don't care how exceptional you Negroes are. White men are speaking, okay? White men want to reassume their mantle in the proper social order of things, as in the hierarchy of America. They're ready to, not that they ever left, by the way, but Trump's brand of it is ready to reassume the levers of power. It's America. You niggas are never. So anyway, and that goes for Cop Mala Double. So sorry for you. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Please give the video a like on your way out the door. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all of the free support, all the material support. Don't forget to also support our comrades, Black Liberation Media. The Remix Morning Show is tomorrow, Women's Wednesdays, plus Kamal and the Ear Doctor. Big ups to Ricky Ryan. Shout out to Jacqueline Lukman. What's up, LJ? I wonder if LJ coming back on Thursday. Come on back on Thursday, LJ. We miss you. So anyway, tune in tomorrow for the Remix Morning Show, 8 a.m. Eastern, Black Liberation Media. Don't forget to go over there and subscribe. Guys, we'll see y'all back here on Friday. I think I am going to do a Twitch turn up tomorrow. So set your notifications over on Twitch, BIDWKB. I'm such a liar, I know, but I have good intentions. But the road to hell is also paved with good intentions. So hopefully I'm not driving myself to hell. But my intention is to do a Twitch turn up. So join me tomorrow evening, somewhere between the hours of 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern. Set your notifications. It'll tell you when I'm going live. All right, gang. Please be safe out here. If racist whites start talking reckless, I mean, how we responded in Trump's America. I say with hands and feet, but to each his own. Don't let white folks out here. Don't let the racists come out here talking real reckless without being reminded. Let's just say that it's not all good for them to speak that way. So anyway, be safe, guys. We'll see y'all on Friday. Love you guys to pieces. Thank you so much to Will and Molly. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Deuces, 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 deuces.